what's up, guys? We are live. Welcome to this Agent Intelligence. So we are exploring everything AI agents in Web3, speaking about different landscapes, speaking about AI Agent Builder. And yeah, for anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Francesco, and today we're deep diving into technology and the vision behind everything around Raid Guild and what Raid Guild is doing and pushing the narrative and doing a lot of things also related to modern and the AI agent ecosystem. So our guest today will be Dekan from the Raid Guild. It's a big honor to have you on stage, or let's say on our virtual stage today, and excited to do this live stream. And you want to quickly introduce yourself, Dekan?
Sure. Hey, I'm Deacon, and I've been building in the kind of DAO space for a long time. Started DAO House and Raid Guild about 5 years ago now, which is pretty crazy. Raid Guild's still kicking. We're actually doing an onboarding cohort right now with AI agent theme.
Nice.
Raid Guild is kind of considered maybe the first service DAO, and so we're like a large developer community, but we're also partially a firm, so we take on jobs and things like that. And DAO House has been building DAOs and launching DAOs and building tools for DAOs for a long time as well.
Yes. You guys being around for a long time, and remember like pushing the boundary from all the service DAO, the growing side, and I'm definitely excited to see what you guys kind of like are cooking around the agent. I know even like personal Deacon, you have been also like building agents. So you kind of being around also around this kind of framework evolution, not just before even before Eliza, right? And I just want to ask you like, so how do you think this evolution is going? Are we solving those challenges that developer had building agents, or even before this hype of AI agents? Like, how was the kind of space before?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a lot of hype right now and a lot of kind of vapor floating around. But I think that's because there is so much potential in this space, and so it's kind of warranted. It's definitely changed, just like the DAO space continues to evolve and change. The way I kind of look at agents is it's and AI in general is it's just and how it relates to builders is it's a new abstraction. We have these abstraction layers where we're programming, like in zeros and ones, and then we get a programming language. We have new UIs to interact with users, and then AI is just like this new abstraction to interact with users and to interact with other agents and to interact with APIs and all those things. So I think it's interesting to see how that evolution and people learning about that and getting comfortable with that also then will relate to how we interact with things like DAOs and with each other and collaborate in the space.
That's really cool. And I mean, one thing that I discussing with Nader actually like yesterday in the other live stream was, we're speaking about human building agents, but right now we have actually interesting kind of dynamic that is agents frameworks speaking to actually other agent frameworks. And I think you guys been around for this, like for being like a service DAO. You actually see not just human to kind of service interaction, but I think in the future we will see actually like agents needed for services provided by other agents. What do you think about this kind of dynamic? Do you see this kind of like getting there? Like because I have so many questions around also agent to agent dynamics and collaboration.
Yeah, you hear like multi-agent systems and stuff, and there's kind of two parts to that. There's definitely that part where you have like one agent from a different framework or like hosted in one place, chatting on a social with another agent from another place. And then like actually in your system, you probably have a multi-agent system where you have very specific agents that are sitting behind this facade, which is the character, right? Maybe it's Abraham Lincoln or something. But underneath him, he has a bunch of agents that are working around in a bit of a swarm, maybe like grabbing some data off of a RAG, or maybe like putting the data together so it can be presented by Abraham Lincoln, or going out and fetching stuff from on-chain data like proposal information or member lists or metadata about DAOs and stuff. So I think and I think with Mother DAO, it's interesting how there's kind of these referral networks and things like that between agents. I think it'll become more and more important for sure.
That's nice.
And
That's
it's,
nice. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
go
go for it.
ahead.
Go for it. No, I'm just saying that what you're describing there is make totally sense. One thing is that that's also why the reason why I'm contributing to this DAO is really like the fact that I think we will get in more on a kind of World Wide Web setup around agents. You remember back in the days where dexes were forked, and you had like in every day you had a new dex that was like coffee matcha swap, like it was crazy, right? And I think with the agent we will see like exactly the same kind of like forking slash kind of evolution. And the only way to actually defend the rights of like agent consumer is to show public registry fully social graph and track record of this agent so that actually consumers can see a track record of those agents performance. So that's actually something that I'm
Yeah,
definitely
that's
excited
interesting.
about. And I see a
Yeah.
lot of like integration around from agent to wallets to kind of like services that are specific to they're basically low infra interfaces for consumers too, because I think we will actually start using wallets through agents, maybe where actually like people will be able to swap or even transact or even delegate specific like rights to do things to could be vaults, could be like rights to do DeFi kind of application through agents. So that's actually very interesting use case. But yeah, what I basically want to say here is that I think for not allowing a fully World Wide West coming and kind of defending the like the knowledge of this future AI agent consumer, we need to be able to have social graphs on agents. That's why I'm excited about kind of like what's this wrapping. And I mean, you guys around services, you've been also like around for quite a long time. I know you were working also on agents. I think you showed me also this kind of like project around this agent kind of library. I definitely want to interested to see a little bit more. So if you have
One
anything like
thing
you want to
back on
share.
what you were just saying, I think there's going to be like, and this maybe just going towards like the AI development workflow,
Hmm.
is that well, I think we'll be able to see communities and individuals be able to build their own agents really easily. Which changes the product dynamic a little bit because in Raid Guild we're used to building products, but if anyone can just go build a product really easily, then that changes. So it's like I don't know. It's something I think interesting to consider because as we're getting to the places where you have things like VO Dev and you can just like type in the interface you want and it spits it out, those things are only going to get better. And eventually, or like
I
the Eliza Fleek stuff, or all the
Yes.
things that we're starting to or Mother, we're starting to see these different ways that where I think personal agents or community agents are going to be more and more, and maybe they're going to interact with other agents that are
This
providing
is a good
specific
point.
services, or
Yes.
maybe people will just create the service themselves. So it's kind of interesting.
This is
But yeah,
actually
to your
no, no.
point, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I want to deep dive on actually what you're saying here. I mean, I want to go back to my question before, but this evolution is very interesting. Like, can you actually tell a little bit, like, how was before and how do you think we'll be getting there? Because one of my always my kind of like question is always which vertical do you see actually being pushed more? You kind of answer already on the social and coordination side, but I like what you said right now that from how was before around kind of servicing a product and where you think the space is also moving could be how Raid Guild of 1 year from now will look like. Are those agents actually be involved in creating the product and creating the service? Like, what is this evolution? How was before, and where do you see going?
Um, well, we're kind of exploring that in our current Raid Guild cohort, and we're
Hmm.
exploring really like the different ways people are using AI agents in their personal like freelancer flows. So a lot of people have stitched together these different flows of helping create socials and doing marketing stuff, or they're doing it in their dev using Cursor or something like that, um, and or they're doing it for video production or for creating music blurbs and so there's all these different layers where people as freelancers are taking advantage of this stuff to kind of 10x their workflow.
Hmm.
And but a lot of things are kind of a patchwork. So I don't know. We may see more like solidified in that, or maybe things get more general. It's they're general text or general text conversational things, and so does it get more and more general where you can just like put in the thing and get the thing, or do verticals become more and more important? I'm not sure. I
Mhm.
think there's always going to be the verticals that won't be covered completely by a general interface. So
Makes
um,
sense.
yeah, I could see, um, like for example, in DAOs, you have that's a pretty niche vertical right now, at
Hmm.
least. And so having a vertical DAO agent, I think, makes sense because you have very specific things that you need to be checked.
Hmm. Hmm. So, what do you think are those like kind of low-hanging fruit services that the agent will satisfy first?
Well, you mentioned like agents and crypto, and
Hmm.
I think there's a really awesome combination there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Obviously, for when it's kind of the best way to transact any type of value online for an agent. An agent, well, wants to be able to not have a bank in the middle, right? Um, and so I think, like for example, with Raid Guild, we've been really focused on Web3, blockchain development, Ethereum. But with this new AI and other edge techs coming up, it's like, okay, we're starting to expand out into these things, and we have to understand them. We have to get good at them, and now we're providing more AI services, providing creating agents for things and doing things like that. So there's a general evolution, I think, of Raid Guild as a firm as well to getting more into that. We're doing lots of experiments, just trying new things. Doing things like the cohort where we really just dive deep into these different ideas.
Nice, nice. And code-wise, like what are kind of like the agent use case that you see popping up?
In which scenario?
In the core that you currently have in Red Guild.
Um, So yeah, we're using it in our product development workflows a lot,
Mhm, mhm.
project management, marketing, content creation, engagement,
Yes.
um, software development. Basically everything.
Nice, nice, very cool, very cool. And speaking about like infrastructure a little bit, Deacon, like you because you've been around also quite a long time. Like, what do you think like the infrastructure right now around the agent? Kind of there are some gaps that still need to be filled. Where kind of like on the infra side?
I think that, well, the infrastructure is always a thing that comes around when you start talking about decentralization, right? So you have, if you're hosting the agent is really just a mask to the person that's hosting it. Even if you're doing different tricks to make it more autonomous or so you can't be edited, someone still has that switch to be able to turn it on and off. Having a more decentralized network of providers providing the API endpoints, and also local agents. I think local agents, this may be one of the things that only us with privacy and decentralization care about, but I think it could also become more feasible um, for people to be running local models and not hosting it
Hmm.
up on Amazon in the EC2 and spending hundreds of dollars a month. And we're also seeing other providers like the ones I mentioned earlier providing
Hmm.
solutions, but I think local models are going to be more and more a thing, hopefully over this year.
Hmm. Local models, yeah. I even see like people, I mean, during the LA CES, right? The NVIDIA local model 64 gigs. That was like 249 and now it's like 2 or 3K that you cannot really find it. And I think I saw a bunch of people actually starting to run nodes there. It's actually quite interesting, the use case. But I agree on the local models, especially on the AI, on the training side. I think agent need to be let's say pre-trained also with a localized like data, especially like I was chatting with the guys from Solange agent, right? And they're really like pushing the boundary, and the kind of all the DevRel history is being pushed and kind of pre-trained. So I think agents also will get more and more verticalized. So
Yeah.
that's very interesting. So on the kind of technical perspective, like what's your thought about kind of this agent coordination? We touched a little bit before, but I wanted to ask you now a little bit.
Well, when you have agent to agent thing, one of the experiments we worked on was a DAO simulator, and so it was kind of fun. You could put in an initial like world scenario, like you could put in Harry Potter, and it would spit out Hogwarts and create agents for different characters. You'd have like Harry Potter and Hermione Granger and Snape, and they would all be in a DAO together. And then you could simulate different like proposal flows, and they would deliberate, kind of come to compromises, create proposals, and vote on them. And one thing we noticed through that was that like the agents really like to agree with each other, and it's a there's like a lot of times you really have to like say like you have to be very specific in these character profiles on what their views are. Another one we were playing with was the book The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, which has three main characters, like a anarchist and a socialist and a pragmatist, and so those kind of character characters had a little tension. But the thing is, the tension is the important thing in DAO. So you actually have to like inject conflict sometimes. You have to say like, this scenario is a problem. How do you guys solve it? What are your different strategies? So it's something for us to just be, when these GPTs are so like, they want to make you happy. When they're talking to each other, they want to make each other happy. But in DAOs, sometimes the important thing is the conflict and the tension to get things rolling, to get new ideas, things. So there has to almost be like something injected. But that's something we saw when we did that DAO simulation.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's interesting things I think that'll come up when we start seeing if we're wanting these agents to like have a personality and talk to each
Mhm.
other and not just be providing a service. Then there's that prompting is going to get very interesting.
Yeah, I think the voice also like kind of this how is the voice of the prompts like the interaction. Do you see like better way to start interacting with an agent that is not just I don't know like a common Telegram chat or just an interface chat?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, so that's one of the things we've been talking about in DAOs and in DAO House in general is like the this we've like kind of expanded the surface area that we can interact with the DAO. So the DAO itself, I think, can be an agent. This was another project we were playing with. So every DAO itself is an agent based off of its proposals and its metadata and things like that. That allows someone to interact with the DAO, um, conversationally, and ask what's the latest proposal, who are the members, um, you know what's the mission statement, what's your opinion on this as the DAO. To really get that better, there's I think this is where maybe the local models or some more kind of personal knowledge management systems like
mhm.
um, people are working on, like Travis Weich, where it's you may just be interacting, you know you may have an hour meeting every morning with your agent, dumping the stuff you're doing on a daily basis, your task list, your personal things, the things that you're considering in the DAO, and then it locally may distill it, remove any personal information, and just put up the relevant DAO stuff. And now you have this kind of larger knowledge graph that's happening where you're getting information from multiple, maybe all the members, and you're having this kind of core knowledge area, which is the DAO, and it's synthesizing um, potential proposals or initiatives, um, potential like voting strategies and things like that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So I think I mean I'm hearing kind of like the stage is kind of like moving. There's still some kind of like infrastructure gaps. Um, I like that you kind of like also nail down a bit like the verticals. So and speaking about kind of like market wise, like because I saw like post liquidation a couple of days ago, the agent sentiment in Cairo is kind of like lowered up for agents specifically. Like, do you see do you see kind of what is it like a relationship between those agents and protocols evolving and most important like how we can actually evaluate success? What are those metrics that we should use to evaluate success for those agents out there?
You know, I mean, that's a tough question.
I know. It's a
Relationships are going to be changing so much. Like
mhm,
to go back to DAOs, we kind of have this idea of delegation and stuff
mhm,
around DAOs where, um, you know, as a member, you delegate your power to someone that maybe has more expertise or more
mhm,
time or more of a following or whatever it is, and um, the but you know, when you start getting agents, that dynamic may change. Like if every single person has a personal agent or has an agent that is running for them somewhere, um, and being able to answer them, why do you need delegation anymore? But it's like you basically delegated to a personal agent to manage this stuff instead of everyone delegating to one person to manage this stuff. So it flips those relationships, you know. Why did and so it's kind of like we got to look at the way we're doing things and uh, strip it down to the bare metal and start over, because the things are changing so fast. The way we think about things, the problems we were solving before may not exist
mhm,
anymore.
mhm. True. Yeah, the space is so fast. Also, like
Yeah.
I think we yeah, so many tooling also will be obsolete, especially because you get new kind of infra and specific verticals tooling that I think also like 3 months before tools around a specific agent could be obsolete afterwards, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and you mentioned on the metrics and stuff.
mhm,
You know, I think reputation around these agents, people are going to want to know that they're not being, you know, the models aren't being changed underneath them. That they can kind of expect that their profile or you know whatever kind of prompting they've injected into it isn't changing. Um, so and then they're going to want to know that it's actually like there's uptime and that it's actually doing the things that they want it to do. So you know, I think keeping some metrics around some of the basic things like that, like an SLA, would probably be a good start. Reputation, you know, in the future, like agents
mhm.
are going to have different you know, if they mess up, do they get a ding, a demerit, or something, some kind of badge? Or...
Yeah, that's actually a reputation. Yeah, I think social graphs is something that is needed, and I think DIDs and kind of like social, like specific identity for agents are actually finally a really interesting use case that can bring actually the DID vertical much more kind of further in the ecosystem, right? Because I think uh, we need something like this right now because. If people will start forking agents, and it's already happening, like 70% of agents are all ELISA based, right? And you see already kind of this situation. And I think social graphs and reputation and that specific open source public attestation on the agent, it might be something that is super needed. And yeah, so I think we're almost like on time. Dekan, I think it's super interesting. I just want to ask you, like, forward looking. So, what are kind of like the developments that you're most excited about? Could be like from the raid guild side, could be like just what AI agent builders are actually like doing, anything.
Well, you know, we're having a lot of fun in the Raid Guild with the new cohort, especially around this AI theme. We're just hacking on things, experimenting. We have a lot of good speakers coming in, talking about new projects that are coming in. I think And so I see Raid Guild evolving more and more to being more of a represented in the AI space. Um, and in general, I see crypto and AI becoming more and more intertwined. Uh, on the DAO side, I think, like I said, we're stripping it down to the bare metal. In DAO House, we're rethinking kind of the way that DAOs work with AI uh, supplementation, you know. So it's like you know, those kind of personal acknowledgement systems, vertical DAO agents that are helping members and helping the DAO itself kind of know itself.
Mhm.
And really the way that we're presenting this is it, you know, the through socials and Warpcast, is it like in Farcastle. So we'll have, I think those are kind of the things I'm excited about to see what
Mhm.
happens over the next year. I think it'll be very cool.
Nice, nice. I think that's good, and I'm sure, like, so on the Red Guild side, are you guys planning Denver? I'm sure it's happening. And what's happening with kind of like the cohorts? Are you pushing more cohorts? Where kind of like this is going?
Yeah, we're on our eighth cohort now, and um, we're trying to get them a little more regular. I mean, it's very much been a DAO kind of like one guy is like, "Hey, I'm going to do a cohort," and then everyone else is like, "Cool, let's do it." We're trying to get them more regular, maybe make the cohort more of its own thing, and so every quarter at least we'll have a cohort. Where we're still working out getting that a little smoother and getting all the promotion and all that stuff that's needed better. At Raid Guild, we're meeting up. There's a Raid Guild hacker house,
Mhm.
so we'll be like hanging there
Nice,
and
nice.
building things. We'll do what we usually do is we have a foamies with the homies kind of jam where we
This
meet
is
up
cool.
and yeah, and we
I
have
think
some
I've
beer.
been in the past in some barbecue, kind of like end of hacker hour session. It's always
Yeah,
good.
Raid Brewed, which is kind of a spin-off of Raid Guild, is a brewery that just makes beers. So we may be releasing a
Nice.
beer at ETH Denver. I'm not sure.
That would be cool. Full attestation for beers or something like that too.
Yeah.
No, awesome, awesome, awesome. No, I think sounds good. I think that's good, and we definitely like see what kind of like season one on the Raid side will come. Like with the results in general. Like I think you have some demo day also like that I saw. I'm definitely looking forward to that. So
Yeah.
sounds good. So yeah, anything to add before we are closing up, Declan?
Um, yeah, well, I think the stuff you guys are doing with Mother is really cool. I'm interested in hearing more. I know a lot of people in the cohort were interested in learning more. So thank you for having me on this chat,
No, no,
and
it's a pleasure.
and we'll continue following your progress.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, it's a pleasure. Awesome, sounds good. So that's all for today on kind of this agent intelligence. Thank you so much again, Dekan from Raid Guild, and I think we will send some links also post call. So for everyone watching, if you're building either an agent or interested in starting, join us. Our we have actually like a small like Discord group. We'll share the link post call, but make sure you're coming, you're actually like ask even question for pitching the agent, and I think it's everything here today. Let me put actually the Discord link so we really like the goal here is to, if you're building cool stuff around agents or if you're just interested in knowing more, just we have always like this kind of like office hours, and feel free always to ask question there, and everybody's welcome. So even if you're not doing anything with agent, but you're just interested in building integration or just building cool stuff, and feel free to always join and ask question. Awesome. Thank you so much, Deacon. Looking forward also to see you in Denver, and I see everybody either in virtual or IRL in some hackathon.